Right, I'm gonna try a short on Nasdaq. If we come back up to at least this 5 minute order block here, we got everything that I would be looking for. You're testing into all in one area. We got the order block, inversion fair value up here. Reason why I wouldn't really want it to go as high as the 5 minute here, because on the 15 minute, the 1 minute order block's like here, so if anything it just looks like it's holding this range. It's gonna close as high and go higher, right? So I kinda just wanna see that 5 minute tested and then a potential setup. Stop loss could be, in my opinion, if we come up here, it's done anyway. So depending on what it tests into, we could look at something like that, or potentially even a bit lower than that. We're looking at about $32, and we can try and get all the way down to the low here. Something like this, yeah, like 3.4R is what I'd like to try. If it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All the other charts are way too slow at this time to look at. Russell is barcode. The Dow is near enough the exact same prices to set all-time highs. There's nothing really to say about that. Nothing to look at. Gold. Gold is kind of, it's not that bad. But the stop losses are fine. But the movement on gold versus Nasdaq is a whole different story. And plus, look at the 15-minute time frame. Do I want to sit there in that? Probably not. So the only thing good to look at is going to be Nasdaq, maybe even the S&P. S&P doesn't look too bad. S&P has already closed this higher, so it could be a good indication that we're not actually going to go any lower on Nasdaq. If we've already closed this higher, we might just be on set to close it on Nasdaq as well. Oh, sorry, we already closed that high. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Swap this here. If we sweep that, we can try and close here, which could unset us to our levels before we dump down. Realistically, if we are going down from here, we're failing this small interior range here. We are looking at either this higher or just this order block alone, and all the way down to the low as a target. So you could, in theory, go as deep as that low, $260 on in price action. Just gonna be patient and only take the short. I think. I don't think taking a long right here is the play. I suppose it wouldn't be a bad idea if you're failing this hammer here. You're failing the hammer, then it's a good indication you're going up to those levels. So you could definitely look at something like this. The risk isn't even that bad either. The risk is basically nothing. Could just go break even at that high as well. Right there. Could consider it. The 15-second time frame soon. I'm not going to consider that. If we didn't close a low on the 15-second as well, it wouldn't have been too bad. I don't think it's the worst risk based off of what I was saying with this 5 minute here. Well, it looks like it would have been a good one. By far. Jesus Christ. My goodness, it went straight up a target as well. Well, that's what happens when you sit on a scalp. It already went up 2.19 R that amount of time. That's fine. I wasn't 100% confident on it. So I'm not really going to lose sleep over that. I'd be trying to target at least here. I'd be trying to get the 5 minute order block. Wouldn't really be trailed anywhere at this point. Not tested into anything that should flip us yet. Well, I mean, we did test into the inverse fair value gap on the 15. I would trail under this orange candle if we was to get here. Just test it. Which would lock in 2.38. So I would be there now anyway. And then you could try and trail it very aggressively, go on 15-second, because you are testing into the level. So you could either be out there or try and play for the bigger move. Be in the order block a bit higher up, and potentially even higher. Let's see it. We haven't tested the order block here yet. The order block is to higher the fair value up. And if I was still in this, I would trail here once we retest up here. Because in the 15-second time frame, we have a small range now. So that would be the low of that next range. I would just do it now based off of how aggressive that did spike back up. Because it's that type of thing, right? If we're creating this low and then we're failing this high, it's going to come down to here anyway. So I might as well just trail for a bit more. You know, that's an extra. It would be an extra $10.50. This doesn't seem like much, but it does add up. And there's a hammer as well. So if you're failing the hammer, you're going to find yourself all the way back down here. Which brings us into another thing of maybe we're holding here, and this is the short to take if we was to fail this hammer and come all the way down. And there's no point in having a stop loss. You can have your stop loss all the way up here, but I think I'd rather just take a scalp. Try and kind of just get the move down. That's what you could do. It's not going to be the case anyway. So where'd I be trailed now? I'll just be trailed here. So we've trailed here, now we're trailed here. Which locks up another $7, $8, $7. We didn't close it higher. We are into the actual fair value gap now as well. You could look at something like that. Down. 15 seconds swept. You could either have such an aggressive stop loss or just a bit higher. I think I'd base it off of if we were to try and push up now and reject down, that would be a good entry. So if we reject down now and we don't close the higher, let's see what happens. Because on the 15, what do we look like? Definitely looks like it might shoot up here. We'd still be on this for the long as well. We'd be trailed here now. Because we wouldn't have been able to travel to here anyway. I'm not going to try to short now. It is a double sweep, but we've had the time frames are looking. It's not the worst idea. Give it like a 8 out of 10. Definitely. We're almost at our levels with double sweeping, hammers to go down. I'd put the trade in if we get a nice candle down and we can hover below the midpoint of this order block, which is around that fair value gap, inversion fair value gap below. Probably way too late now. Don't know where this volume came from. Yeah, it's gonna be too late for that, and in my opinion too risky. I'd rather just be in it. Wouldn't that have been nicer? 2 trades of great quality. You just don't expect stuff like this to happen. Just random spikes that aggressively. Let's see, was there actually anything that happened? Any reason? No, no reason. Can I really say I missed out on anything? Right now, no, because I'd just be at break even. Let's see it. Let's see what would have happened. I did like 2 to 3 ticks in the profit, so we'll see. We'll try to hide this candle if it got to the low. Right now, I'd only just be at break even. And break even anyway. So we didn't really miss out on anything, it's fine. Do we want to go for a re-entry if we failed to move down off of that? Probably not. Closed these highs, tested into the only gap. Now trying to push higher. I don't really want to try that. If anything, I'd like to try the long, but this stop loss for a scalp is a bit big. I suppose you could do that. So I think if it's coming here, it's going there anyway. You could just target the high here. And going break even at this high is a bit too premature though. Even something like that, right? It's about not risking too much as well. In the grand schemes of, if it was to get to my stop loss here and fail this higher, is there going to be any difference with my stop loss being here and here, as in the trade working out? I'm going to say no. I think they will both fail. Whereas at least with this, you could risk half the amount. And if it was to look better down here and supposedly sweep, instead of taking that full loss, you could have taken half, if not a bit smaller than half, taking another trade. Even if you lose both, you're going to be in the same position as if you had the bigger stop loss. In my opinion, for no reason as well, as in no reason having it there opposed to somewhere like here. It's going to fail either or, right? So this is not what we would want to see if we was looking for a. If we wasn't that long, I would have been break even it anyway. I think premature, yeah, but if you're failing that, you could be looking all the way down here. And it's spiking quite aggressively here, so I don't really know if I'd want to go for a trade this second. Looks like that was too premature, but would it have spiked all the way up if there wasn't a random, I guess, like company or something that's just sold its whole position? Because this is what these random spikes are. It's not people buying, it's companies or maybe very, very rich people buying and selling positions. That's why there's random spikes at 3:40 in the morning. Sorry, 12:34 in the morning. Don't know where I got 3:40 from. But yeah, two good ideas. So show me missed out on the long. I don't know if I'd say a shame because I did think the quality of it was good. I think it was a bit aggressive. It's what you would want to see, right? Closing the range, testing back up, but I don't know. Maybe I was a bit fearful in that one. That's completely fine. So now we're in the realms of we're clearly failing to move down. Clearly. Does that mean we can't short? No, it doesn't. If you close this range or you sweep it, you need a return down. If you're not holding the high, you should be coming down to at least the order block, which is here, meaning I don't actually know if the short would be worth it unless you was willing to go break even immediately, because if we're looking here, there's no idea what happened. My recording just randomly stopped. Fair enough though, at least it didn't delete. I've had experiences in the past where it just deletes. What I was saying, or what I was trying to say, is there a point of trying to go for the short after closing this if we're failing the high, your target's here for the first thing it could hold off of? I think if anything I'd rather see us failing to get to the high right now, as it's looking like it might. Closing a range, testing up, taking that down. That could be something we look at. What are the stop losses? Stop losses are still good even after these spikes we've been having. So we are at the highest point, so that's going to be the highest place you can short, but it always looks a bit sketch when it comes all the way up to it. In every range, maybe a range that's a bit bigger, more than 5 candles. For example, it's a good example here. At this, I think if we close this here, and we did come all the way up to the 1 minute order block, which I can only say is probably around there, I think that wouldn't look too bad. But when it's something like that where it just looks like there's a small range that we're just closing, to me this looks like the next candle is going to be up. But doesn't mean it will be. Just looks a bit more sketch. Whereas on the 5 minute it looks fine, right? If this was the 15 minute, this would look great. If it came up to here, it would still look good. Anyway, we can just wait for this low to close. Could wait for this low to close. I'd actually look at this low being the first low, unless that's the 5 minute low. The 5 minute low is there, yeah. So I'd rather wait. I don't think this will do much with the fact that we did hold the high of that range and also the fair value gap. So why is the order block going to be any different if we test it now? We didn't close the low on the 15-second. I'm sure we did. So that short is still in play. The 5 minute looks like it wants to go down. We didn't close the high for this order block. So this order block doesn't really mean too much. We could be looking at, maybe we get a trade here. Okay, that stop was just above that high. We can take that down to the low for almost 4R. That seems good. We've not closed that low yet though. I'd only get this if we close that low. I'd like it to close in this candle. And hopefully not test down as well. I think if we don't test down, I'm not going to be skeptical at all. I think if we close that low, test up, that's a great opportunity. You could argue that you did close on the 15-second and that's good enough, but for me, not really. In a point where it does just look like we're going to go up. If this candle closes like this on the 15, then yeah, this is a 10 times better look to go down. But if this candle closes orange up here, well, it looks like the next candle is going to go here, and then the next candle is going to be all the way up. So this is kind of a stepping stone to what happens in the next couple of 15-minute candles, in my opinion. Okay, we closed it. We closed it, but we did test into this. It's not going to fully put me off, but it's just something to think about. 5 minute is current immediate rebalance. So maybe we don't even test higher here. We might just go down to the target beforehand. We could look to see if it sweeps as well. Might sweep and might be able to get long or close, fell holding the low. Test us all the way up. The Tokyo session opens in 18 minutes, so we've still got time for a trade, especially if it being a scalp. Where's the low? Oh, okay, the low of the day yesterday was there. Opening print was here. So we do have the the gap here from the overnight gap. It's right here. It's also something to look at. Maybe I did already know that was there before that long, which means I probably should have taken that by far. I think everything was there for that to be a good long. I just think I overthought it. You're getting back above this high or this low. Where my entry would have been like here. It was a good long. We would have got about $50. Yeah, $53 on the 1 mini there. It would have been a nice scalp considering we was risking. Maybe we was a bit deeper. I think we might have been. I don't really remember. I don't think I was risking that much. Maybe 30. 30 for 62. That seems a bit more what I would go for. So again, we could. I wouldn't go for the long here in this scenario. I wouldn't go for this long. The 5 minute could be setting up to close this low. I'm not going to go for an interior range just to try and get up to there to take it down. I think that's a bit too aggressive. It's another random freaking massive candle. I don't know what's going on. Mate, honestly, next time we get to one of these levels, it looks like I need to just take it. Because this keeps happening. Here, at a level I wanted to get in at. Oh, and I didn't really. What was I doing? We tested the overnight gap so perfectly as well. God's sake, man. Oh well. Oh well. Honestly, we just had my stop loss like here. Just trying to get that into the order block to the high. If we're closing this high now, we're 100% failing to push down. I'd be trailed underneath that candle right now, which would be a shame if it came down, but this is where it would come down. And obviously this puts me off the short as well, based off of the volume, which is kind of annoying me. I'm actually debating changing to trading this time, and I'm being completely serious. I think trading Tokyo and overnight seems to be a bit better, in my opinion. I actually like the look of it. The stop losses are smaller, meaning I can do more contracts anyway. So maybe this will be my last session of just doing 1 mini. Maybe I'll start doing real positions if I go to trading purely Tokyo session. Because I could have a full day of just not trading and then trade at night. That actually seems pretty good. I wouldn't mind that because I'm never really doing anything. I could just grab a coffee and crack on with it. To be honest, I think that's what I'm going to do right now, actually. Quickly pause it and brew a coffee. Look like the perfect time to go make a coffee as well. With that look. Couple of choppy hammer candles. Right. What are our thoughts right now? Thoughts are we have 8 minutes and 31 seconds. We could hover around here, create this as a higher, also have this as a higher, or we can just come up now, close this, longs are great. What? Something I've not done so far, which is pretty bad from me right now, is... Oh no, I did actually. I did have a bias of up. Did I? No, I didn't. I had a bias of down. Right, well, don't listen to me. I had a bias of down. Bias was we closed here, we're holding here. We closed this before this, meaning this is more exterior than this, meaning we should hold this and try and get down to here. But we closed this. We're holding this range here. We've not tested down here yet. We don't have to test down to there. We're closing this. It's telling us we don't need to come down to here. This is the next stepping stone, this range, to try and come up a bit further, potentially to this mini range here. So that could be the plays, just waiting for the long once we close here. Right now, it's still only looking like it's shorting, as in low, high, close that low, creating lower lows, lower high put in, not a lower low yet, but that should be the next thing. So until we get above here, and even if we get above here, it still doesn't mean we're going up until we get above here and close above it. But until then, it still looks like it's going to go down. Am I going to take a trade off of this range? Not right now, I don't think. You could. I think it would have been better if you was in it now, because I would... It looks like it's going to be another successful trade anyway, but I would have wanted to see these hammers foul, because if you're creating that many hammers and still not going up, are we going to go up? Probably not, meaning we could target this low here for a new low. Knowing full well it could just get to this overnight low again, or so this overnight gap. God, it would have only got break even there anyway, but I think it would have been worth a try. We're going break even once it's testing into the first thing that we don't want it to hold off of. I'm not just saying this every time I see a trade and I'm not in and I go, I would have been break even anyway. That's just simply what I would do and what I do anyway. The moment we test into something I don't want to get tested into, especially with a big candle down, why wouldn't I be break even if this still works? And I would actually argue there is still potential to go down here because we have closed the mini range, meaning we could just look at the midpoint of this candle, maybe a bit higher, and just take that with our stop loss, either being here or at the same position, trying to target the exact same thing, being this low, a 2.63R. I would say it's still justifiable to do that. If you're making it this far down, after such an aggressive move back up, are we gonna still go up? In my opinion, no. But did I like the look of this trade more than this? I would say yeah. There's no gap here either. So this is still good. If we come up now, in this candle, reject and then come down to here, The thing is though, this is still the order block for this range here. But if we're looking in such a interior view here, we do have an order block. This is a range, right? The high and low of that is a really mini range. The higher the low, order blocks is this candle. It's 4 minutes into Tokyo, I just realized as well. Do I want to take a trade right now? Knowing full well I could get blown out the water straight away. We're coming as far as the midpoint of that, which is there. Coming as far as the midpoint of the hammer candle. We're failing that to go up. And yeah, I could definitely see this coming down. Yeah, I think if we get here, it's still good. Look how many times it's tried to go up. If we do get there, you could just have a limit there, and if it hits, it hits. I'd rather just base it off of the reaction. Maybe I'm being naive, trying to take it when Tokyo's about to open, because would I do that if New York was going to open? No, I wouldn't. I would wait. I'd miss the trade. So do I want to do it here now? I'm going to be smart and say no, even if it works out. It's a gamble. Might as well go to a casino if I'm doing that. If this was a different time, I would keep it there. But this is all saying if we don't come here, we come up here on Tokyo Open, we come up here on Tokyo Open, we foul. We sweep, maybe there's a better position. Or maybe we don't get that high and we just sweep these. We could go for the same trade. But look how many times we're failing to go higher. This is the strongest candle we've had in a while, and it's actually the new order block. So this would be the new position. We're sweeping that as well. So there's something else to think about. It's 42 seconds till Tokyo Open. It's only a small loss if this was to go bad. Literally just risk $25 there, actually wouldn't be too bad. Intrusive Falls almost won. I'm joking, I wasn't going to do it. But still, that would have been a bad one, and that's why I look at that. Okay, so we're at that target now anyway. Right, we got a direction. Lovely. Now we got a Tokyo low as well. So what we could do, close. Oh, we got freaking 15 minutes though, don't we now? Ugh, we gotta wait 15 minutes to close. That's sad. Right, well anyway, I won't be getting a trade until that closes, so I think I'm just gonna AFK here. I'll come back in 15 minutes time. If we close this, we have the session low here we can take a trade off of and take a wider session low. It's because there's going to be a big rejection off of session lows, session highs, plus On top of that, we got the lowest gap we can test into. And I'm also assuming the 15-minute order block is going to be around that area as well. Or sorry, the 5-minute order block. Yes, it is. So we have a lot of stuff there. If we don't close this and we, by the looks of it, go down now, then I'll just wait. You don't really have to wait if that's the look of the candle. You could just go for a short there, but the stop losses are now too big for this video, in my opinion. I don't want to risk that much. It's not really that much. It's only $80, but you get the point. Concept of the video. Yeah, we'll just wait. We'll just wait for a better position. Volume's a bit too high right now as well, so cool. We'll just come back when there's something. Right, I just got back. We didn't end up closing at a higher. Anyway, we just failed it. We swept the higher. We're now closing this low in 15 minutes. We've got to wait another 15 minutes. I don't know if I will wait 15 minutes. I might just log off. But that's not to say it's been a bad session. I think this is honestly, and this is what I found the last couple of nights I've been here for the overnight session. It just looks so much better than New York session. By far, there's so many more scalp opportunities. In such a small amount of time that I've been debating within the last like 30 minutes or whatever, and I'm pretty sure I said it earlier in this video anyway. I think I might just trade Tokyo session from this moment forth. The quality looks so much better than New York session. New York session, not saying New York session is bad at all. New York session has a lot more volume and everything, but when it comes down to volume and big stop loss sizes, and how much I risk anyway, and with Tokyo being at least a bit slower as well, so you get a bit more time to think about it. I can trade the same, obviously I can trade the same amount on New York and Tokyo. I can do more contracts on Tokyo as well because the stop losses are smaller. Meaning if I do get a good trade, I'm going to get a lot more potential out of it than I would in a New York session trade, because right now in New York I can only do 2 to 3 if I'm lucky contracts, because I do 1,500 per a stop loss, whereas here, let's say I did go for a scalp and my stop loss is around 27.25, I can at least do a bit more there. I mean, I guess I don't even think I'd be doing 2 contracts actually. I'd be doing, I wouldn't be able to do 3. 3 is over 1,500. I think I'll be doing the same, but regardless, I think Tokyo is gonna be better for me right now. It feels a lot more relaxing. I can get my whole day to myself anyway and then trade. Because a lot of the live things I want to do, I kind of put off to night time, then don't end up doing them because it's night time, and I don't really want to. I still do them, but it feels a bit more of a drag than if I was to do it midday. Whereas if it's my job, I'm not really gonna find it, or I'm not gonna put it off. I'm gonna turn up because it's my job, So I think that's another good thing. But yeah, the whole session itself's been great the last few days. Whereas today on Nasdaq, what actually happened? I wouldn't have got one trade today on Nasdaq because there was no entries. It opened failed to push up. Maybe you took a short and got such a good short, but other than that, there was not one entry I would have been comfortable with taking because we're mid-range the whole time down. Whereas here, we're cycling, there's moves, overnight gap, there's one trade coming up here, there was that short, there was the trade off of that tested perfectly into the overnight gap, and then you could have also got a short after closing here, coming back up, there was another short there, stop loss above the Tokyo high here. So there's already a couple of trades here I could look at and justify. Whereas today on the New York session, I could justify potentially one, if that was even. I couldn't even justify that actually. I wouldn't have even gone for that because we didn't close anything. I'll just be looking. We're probably going to come up to here and go higher. Obviously, it didn't, but that's what I would have been thinking. And I think if we go to the previous day's session as well, realistically, what do you have here? There's not really anything to work with on the open. You didn't really test into the bottom of the range here. I'm sure I wouldn't have gone for anything here. Maybe you got a long here for closing this. You've clearly tested into something, you're holding it. Good bullish candle here. You could have potentially got something now. I'll log off by 5:30. There was a couple of good entries there. And then where's the overnight session? Overnight session's here. Okay, so log on at 11. 11's here. Close this range. Testing back down into it. If you didn't get anything off of this coming down, when then you've got the sweep of this low. So then there's a trade you can take. There's your first trade. And then you end up coming up. Do you close these lows? You don't until here. You could have potentially tried a short off of failing these highs. Wouldn't have gone too far, but that's still a trade opportunity. You then end up closing them. You end up coming down into the range, and there's another trade. You then have trades off of internal ranges here. You sweep, good bullish candle, could have got something there. You know, there's quite a lot to offer. There is a lot to offer. You close the first low here, so once we come back up to the top of the range, there's another trade to take. Obviously, I think I recorded this session, but there was that. That just seems like there's a lot more for me. Even if I'm just being, I don't know, even if it's the same amount of opportunities, I just think I'm going to thrive better at Tokyo. I don't really need to give an explanation on why. I just think I'm going to get on a lot better with Tokyo session over New York session. And the thing is as well, there's more news. At the time I trade at New York, there's not too much news at this time. And again, there's another trade that just hit there, so there's another opportunity we could have looked at. Yeah, we're closing these right. We need a return up. We're already above the midpoint. We're already above the 5-minute order block of this range. Cool. Right, well, we shouldn't return back above this hammer. What could we do? We could have done that. Try to target this order block. I'm pretty sure it went exactly there. No, it just missed it. But that's something I would have tried. If I was locked in now. But that's the thing, that there's a lot more to offer. And I do like the look of it. So, no trades tonight. I'm going to log off now, but tomorrow I'm going to most likely trade from 11 to 3 a.m. maybe a bit before. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do.